Imagine this. You're a young woman in 1917. You have a job that pays better than most, better than factory work, better than domestic service. You paint watch dials, tiny numbers, on tiny watches, with paint that glows in the dark. The paint is beautiful. It shimmers. It sparkles. Your boss tells you it's safe, harmless, so safe that you're told to lick your brush. Lip, dip, paint, lip, dip, paint, hundreds of times a day after day, year after year. And then something happens. Your teeth start falling out. Your jaw begins to disintegrate. Your bones snap like dry twigs. And in the dark, at night, when you look in the mirror, you glow. This is the story of the Radium Girls, the women who painted America's watches, who trusted their employers, who suffered unimaginable agony, and who fought back and changed history forever. Welcome to Echoes of History. Today's story isn't from a battlefield. It isn't about soldiers or spies. It's about young women, factory workers, many of them teenagers, women who took a job that seemed glamorous, safe, well-paying, a job that would kill them in the most horrific way imaginable. This is the story of the Radium Girls, and it's a story that changed America forever. But it's also more than that. It's a story about the American dream and its dark underbelly, about immigrant families seeking opportunity, about young women finding independence in a changing world, about the price of progress, and about the moment when ordinary people said enough and changed the course of history. To understand this story, we need to go back to 1898. Marie Curie and her husband Pierre discover a new element. They call it radium, and radium is magical. It glows, in the dark, by itself, without electricity, without fire. It's unlike anything the world has ever seen. But let me tell you what this discovery really meant. Picture this: the world at the turn of the 20th century. Electric lights are still new. Most homes are lit by gas or candles. The night is dark, truly dark in a way we can barely imagine today. And then Marie Curie isolates this element that glows by itself. She carries a vial of it in her pocket. At night, she keeps it by her bedside just to watch it glow. She calls it "my beautiful radium." Pierre Curie gives a lecture where he holds up a tube of radium salts. The entire auditorium gasps. In the darkness, his hands are illuminated by this eerie, greenish-white light. It looks like magic, like something from a fairy tale. The newspapers go wild. Scientists are fascinated. The public is obsessed. The New York Times calls it the most remarkable discovery of the age. Harper's Magazine proclaims it a gift from the heavens. Scientific American suggests it might hold the secret to eternal life. And within a few years, radium becomes a miracle cure for everything. By 1910, radium is everywhere. Radium water, sold in bottles. Drink it for health and vigor. A company called Radithor sells thousands of bottles. Their slogan: certified radioactive water. Radium chocolate. The Bailey Radium Laboratories in New Jersey produces radium-infused chocolate bars. Eat it for energy and vitality. Radium beauty creams. The Radia cream from France promises to give women eternal youth and sparkling beauty. It contains thorium and radium. Women rub it on their faces daily. There's radium toothpaste called Doramad. Made in Germany. The advertisements show beautiful smiling women. For cleaner, whiter, healthier teeth through radioactive radiation. Radium suppositories. I'll spare you the details. Radium-lined underwear. The Radium Schokoladenhaus in Germany sells radioactive underwear for men. It's supposed to cure impotence. Radium spas. You can go to a resort and sit in radium-enriched water. Breathe radium-infused air. Sleep on radium-lined beds. The wealthy travel across Europe to visit these spas. Doctors prescribe radium for arthritis, for depression, for impotence, for cancer, ironically, for tuberculosis, for pretty much any ailment you can name. There are radium pendants, radium earrings, radium playing cards, radium baby blankets. Radium is seen as a gift from God. The medical community is convinced it's safe. Dr. C. Everett Field writes in a medical journal, "Radium has been found to be entirely harmless to normal tissue. It represents the ideal internal therapy." Eben Byers, a wealthy American socialite and athlete, drinks multiple bottles of Radithor every day for years. He loves it. He sends cases of it to friends. He attributes his health and vigor to radium. In 1932, Eben Byers dies. His jaw is completely gone. His skull has holes in it. He literally has to be buried in a lead-lined coffin because his body is too radioactive. The Wall Street Journal runs the headline, "The radium water worked fine until his jaw came off." But that's getting ahead of our story. In 1913, all anyone knows is that radium is wonderful, magical, miraculous, and then someone figures out you can paint with it. In 1913, the United States Radium Corporation is founded by Dr. Sabin von Sauchucky and Dr. George Willis. They develop a paint called Undark. It's a mixture of radium sulfide, zinc sulfide, and an adhesive glue. And it glows brilliantly, beautifully, perfect for painting watch dials, instrument panels, aircraft gauges. They set up their factory in Orange, New Jersey, a 3-story brick building on High Street. First, business is modest. They paint some watches, some instruments. It's a niche product. And when World War I breaks out in 1914, the military wants these glow-in-the-dark watches. Desperately, soldiers need to read their watches at night, in the trenches, during night raids, without striking matches, without giving away their position to enemy snipers. The demand is overwhelming. The United States Radium Corporation can barely keep up. They get contracts from the U.S. military, from Britain, from France, orders for tens of thousands of watches, then hundreds of thousands. Demand explodes, and the United States Radium Corporation needs workers, hundreds of them, to paint these tiny dials. By hand, with tiny brushes, they start hiring young women. The main factory is in Orange, New Jersey, a brick building, 3 stories tall, with a sign that reads, United States Radium Corporation. Inside, on the 3rd floor, is the studio. Long tables, rows of chairs, windows along one wall letting in natural light. And seated at these tables are about 70 young women. They're mostly teenagers, 14 to 20 years old. Let me tell you about some of them. Grace Fryer is 19 years old. She lives with her parents in Orange. Her father works at a factory. Her mother takes in sewing. Grace wants to save money, maybe go to business school. She's smart, ambitious, detail-oriented. The perfect dial painter. Katherine Schaub is just 15 when she starts. She's one of 7 children in a German-American family. Her father died when she was young. Her mother struggles to support the family. Katherine's wages will help feed her younger siblings. Quinta McDonald is 20. She's engaged to be married. She's saving money for her wedding, for furniture, for starting a new life with her fiancé. She dreams of having her own home, her own family. Albina Larice is 17. First-generation Italian-American. Her parents emigrated from Italy searching for a better life. She's bright, cheerful, popular. She's working to help support the family, but also to gain some independence. Edna Hussman is 21. She's serious, hardworking, reliable. She's been working since she was 14 to help her family. This job at the radium factory is the best opportunity she's ever had. And then there are the Maggia sisters. 5 of them: Mollie, Albina, Quinta, Irma, and Josephine. 4 of them work at the radium factory. They're Italian-American, close-knit, devoted to their family and to each other. These aren't faceless victims. They're real people with hopes, dreams, families, futures. Some are still in school. Some are supporting their families. Some are saving up to get married. The job pays well, 22 cents an hour. More if you're fast. The best painters can earn $20 a week. That's excellent money in 1917. A factory worker might earn $10 or $12 a week. A domestic servant even less. For comparison, Rent for a modest apartment is about $5 a month. A loaf of bread costs 5 cents. A dozen eggs, 30 cents. These girls are making enough money to support their families, save for the future, and still have money for themselves. It's independence. It's opportunity. It's the American dream. And the work seems easy, pleasant even. The studio is bright and airy. Much nicer than most factories. No heavy machinery. No dangerous equipment. Just tables and chairs and natural light. The girls chat as they work. They become friends. Best friends. They eat lunch together, go to dances together, confide in each other. The supervisors are women too. Miss Murray, Miss Rudolph. They're kind, encouraging. They teach the new girls. They praise good work. It requires precision. A steady hand. Perfect brushwork. Each girl is given a tiny paintbrush, made from camel hair, about a 1/4 inch wide at the tip. She's given a small pot of radium paint, glowing, greenish-white, beautiful. It looks like crushed diamonds mixed with a soft luminescence. And she's given watch dials, hundreds of them, tiny, delicate, each one about the size of a quarter. Her job is to paint the numbers, 1 through 12. On each dial, it requires precision, a steady hand, perfect brushwork. Each number has to be exactly right, the same size, the same brightness, evenly spaced. A good painter can do 200 to 250 dials a day. The very best, like Mollie Maggia, can do even more. The company times them, measures their output, pays bonuses for speed and accuracy. And to get that perfect point on the brush, you put it in your mouth. The supervisors teach the technique on day 1. Lip. Put the brush between your lips. Twist it gently. The moisture from your lips and the gentle pressure shapes the bristles into a fine, sharp point. Dip. Dip the brush in the paint pot. Not too much. Just enough to coat the tip. Paint. Paint the number on the dial. Careful. Precise. Perfect. Lip. Dip. Paint. Lip. Dip. Paint. Over and over. Hundreds of times a day. 6 days a week. The girls become incredibly skilled. Their movements are smooth, automatic, graceful. Lip, dip, paint. Lip, dip, paint. Like a meditation. Like breathing. Some girls ask, is it safe to put the brush in my mouth? The supervisors laugh. Of course it's safe. Radium is harmless. Doctors use it as medicine. Society women pay good money to drink radium water. Miss Murray tells the girls, radium is actually good for you. It'll make you healthy. Put roses in your cheeks. Some doctors even say it can make you more beautiful. One supervisor tells the new girls, the scientists downstairs handle pure radium all day. They're the healthiest men you'll ever meet. Strong as oxen. What the supervisor doesn't mention is that those scientists wear lead aprons, use lead-line tools, never ever touch radium with their bare hands, work behind lead screens. But the dial painters don't know that. They're told it's safe, and they believe it. And there's something else about this job. It's glamorous. The paint gets everywhere. It's so fine, so light, that it drifts in the air like mist. It settles on your hands, your face, your hair, your clothes. By the end of the day, every girl in the studio is dusted with radium, sparkling, glowing faintly even in the daylight. And at night, when you walk home in the dark, you glow. The girls love it. They think it's magical, enchanting. They paint their nails with radium paint, make their fingernails glow like tiny lanterns. They dust it in their hair, so their hair shimmers in the dark. They paint their teeth for parties, so when they smile in the dark dance halls, their smiles glow. Some girls paint designs on their clothes, stars, flowers, their initials. One girl paints radium on her dress for a costume party. She goes as a ghost. She's the hit of the party. She glows, shimmers, floats through the dark room like an apparition. They're called the ghost girls, the shining girls, the radium girls. Boys take them dancing, and in the dark dance halls the girls shimmer, sparkle, glow. Young men are fascinated. They want to dance with the glowing girls. The girls who work at the radium factory. Feels magical. Feels like fairy dust. Like something out of a storybook. The girls feel special. Chosen. Lucky. They have good jobs. Good money. Independence. And they literally shine. But there's something the girls don't know. Something the company doesn't tell them. Radium is poison. Her name is Mollie Maggia. She's 24 years old. Italian-American. One of 5 sisters. 4 of them work at the radium plant. Mollie is beautiful. Dark hair. Bright eyes. A warm smile. She's popular, well-liked, the life of any party. And Mollie is one of the best dial painters. Fast. Precise. Steady. She can paint 250 dials a day. Sometimes more. She's worked at the factory since 1917. For 5 years. 5 years of lip dip paint. 5 years of putting that brush in her mouth. Thousands upon thousands of times. If you calculate it out, it's staggering. 200 dials a day. 12 numbers per dial. That's 2,400 times a day that Mollie puts that brush in her mouth. 6 days a week. 50 weeks a year. Over 5 years, Mollie has ingested radium approximately 3 million times. And in early 1922, Mollie's tooth starts to hurt. First, it's just a dull ache. In the back of her mouth. Left side. Lower jaw. Annoying. But manageable. She figures it's a cavity. She's always had good teeth, but everyone gets cavities eventually. She goes to the dentist. His name is Dr. Joseph Neff. He's the local dentist in Orange. He's treated Mollie before. Knows her family. He examines the tooth. Looks perfectly healthy to him. No visible dica. No obvious problem. But Mollie insists it hurts. So he decides to pull it. Just to be safe. The extraction seems routine. A little Novocaine. Quick pull. Done. He tells Mollie to go home, rest, eat soft foods for a few days. The pain should go away soon. But it doesn't. The socket doesn't heal. Within days, it's oozing. Bleeding constantly. The pain is worse than before. Much worse. Mollie goes back to Dr. Neff. He looks in her mouth. The socket is infected. Red. Swollen. But that happens sometimes. He prescribes some mouth rinses. Tells her to keep it clean. But it gets worse. Then the tooth next to the empty socket starts to hurt. And the one next to that. Dr. Neff pulls them too. 3 teeth now. 3 empty sockets. All of them oozing. Bleeding. Not healing. Within weeks, Mollie has lost 6 teeth. Then 8. Then 10. And none of the sockets heal. Her mouth is a mass of open, bleeding wounds. Dr. Neff is baffled. Worried. He's never seen anything like this. And then Mollie's jaw starts to crumble. Dr. Neff looks into Mollie's mouth one day in late 1922. And what he sees horrifies him. Her jawbone is disintegrating. Piece by piece. Literally falling apart. He can see the bone. It's not white and healthy. It's gray. Porous. Fragile. When he touches it gently with his instrument, a piece breaks off. Just crumbles. Like old dry wood. He can pull out pieces of bone with his fingers. Small fragments. Then larger pieces. Mollie's mandible, her lower jaw, is dying. Necrotizing. Breaking down. The technical term is radium jaw. But in 1922, nobody knows that term yet. Dr. Neff calls in other dentists. Other doctors. They examine Mollie. They're all shocked. Baffled. One doctor suggests it might be phosphorus poisoning. Phossy jaw, as it's called. A condition seen in match factory workers who work with white phosphorus. But Mollie doesn't work with phosphorus. She works with radium. And radium is supposed to be safe. Another doctor suggests syphilis. In the medical textbooks, advanced syphilis can cause bone necrosis. Maybe that's what this is. But Mollie has no other symptoms of syphilis. No rash. No fever. No signs of the disease. And she's a respectable young woman. Engaged to be married. The suggestion is insulting. Dr. Neff tests her anyway. The test is negative. It's not syphilis. So what is it? Nobody knows. Mollie's mouth is an open wound, constantly infected, constantly bleeding. The smell is overwhelming. The smell of rotting flesh, of pus, of death. She can barely eat, can barely speak. The pain is unbearable, constant, searing. Her face begins to swell. Her jaw deforms. Her chin recedes as the bone disintegrates. She can't go out in public. She's too ashamed, too disfigured. Her fiancé breaks off the engagement. He can't handle it, can't look at her. Mollie is devastated. Her life is falling apart. Her body is falling apart. And no one knows why. But Mollie isn't the only one. At the factory, another dial painter, Hazel Cuser, starts losing her teeth. Same symptoms. Same inexplicable deterioration. Then Irene Rudolph. Her jaw is falling apart. The pain is unbearable. Then Marguerite Carlo, 23 years old. Her jaw is disintegrating just like Mollie's. Then Quinta McDonald. Her hip fractures. For no reason. She's walking down the street and her femur just snaps. Like a dry twig. Then Helen Quinlan. Severe anemia. Her blood count is dangerously low. She's weak, pale, constantly exhausted. One by one, the dial painters are getting sick. The pattern is unmistakable. But no one is putting it together yet. The doctors are baffled. They've never seen anything like this. Not in medical school. Not in their practices. Not in the medical literature. They call it phossy jaw, a disease from phosphorus poisoning. But that doesn't make sense. These girls don't work with phosphorus. Other doctors say it's syphilis. That these girls must be promiscuous. Some doctors flat out accuse the girls of having poor hygiene, of not brushing their teeth, of being promiscuous, of bringing this on themselves. The company doctors agree. It must be syphilis, or bad hygiene, or poor diet. The company sends the girls to their own doctors. These doctors examine the girls, take notes, and report back to the company. And every single diagnosis is the same. Not radium. Poor dental hygiene. Bad genetics. Sexually transmitted disease. Anemia. Depression. Hysteria. One company doctor even suggests that the girls' symptoms are psychosomatic. That they're imagining the pain. That it's all in their heads. But the pain is very real. And it's getting worse. Anything except the radium. September 1922. Mollie Maggia is dying. Her jaw is gone. Almost entirely. Her lower face is a cratered, bleeding wound. The infection has spread. To her throat. Her neck. Into her bloodstream. She's in constant agonizing pain. Morphine barely touches it. She can't eat solid food. Can barely swallow liquids. She's wasting away. Her family begs doctors to help. They take her to specialist after specialist. No one can do anything. Her mother sits by her bedside, praying, weeping. Her sisters visit every day. They're horrified. They're terrified. Because 3 of them work at the radium factory too. Mollie knows she's dying. She's only 25 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. Marriage, children, a future. Now she has nothing but pain. On September 12, 1922, Mollie Maggia dies. She's 25 years old. Her death certificate is signed by Dr. Neff. Under cause of death, he writes, ulcerative stomatitis, mouth ulcers, no mention of radium, no mention of the factory, no mention of the years she spent putting that brush in her mouth. Just bad teeth. The death certificate is a lie. Dr. Neff knows it. But what else can he write? He doesn't understand what killed her. And the company certainly isn't going to admit any connection. Mollie is buried in a cemetery in New Jersey. Her family is devastated. Her sisters are terrified. But Mollie's death is just the beginning. In the next year, more girls die. Hazel Cuser, Irene Rudolph, Eleanor Eckert, Sarah Mailfer, all dial painters, all with the same symptoms. Teeth falling out, jaws disintegrating, bones breaking, anemia, constant pain, all young, all in their 20s, all dying horrible, agonizing deaths. And the company says nothing, does nothing, changes nothing. The lip dip paint technique continues. Here's the thing. The United States Radium Corporation knows radium is dangerous. They've known since before they hired the first dial painter. In their own factory, on the floors below the dial painting studio, the chemists and scientists who handle radium wear lead aprons, lead screens, use lead-line tongs and tools. They never, ever touch radium with their bare hands. When they mix the paint, they work behind protective barriers. They wear thick gloves. They use ventilation systems to remove radium dust from the air. And they're men. In 1917, that matters. The company takes their safety seriously. But the dial painters upstairs? Young women, teenagers,
Immigrants, daughters.
working-class girls. They're told it's safe. They're told to put it in their mouths. The president of the company is Dr. Sabin von Saucicki. He's one of the inventors of radium paint. He's a scientist. He knows exactly what radium does to the human body, because he's dying from it too. Von Saucicki has radiation burns on his hands. His fingertips are blackened, cracked, disintegrating. His blood count is dangerously low. He's developing anemia. He's weak, tired all the time. He knows he's been poisoned by his own invention. But he says nothing, does nothing to protect the girls, changes nothing. The dial painters keep lipping their brushes. And von Saucicki keeps collecting his profits.
In 1928, Dr. von Saucicki.
The cause of death is listed as aplastic anemia. But it's radium poisoning. He knows it. Everyone knows it. His last words, reportedly, are an apology. Not to the dial painters, but to his business partner for leaving him to deal with the lawsuits alone. As more girls get sick, the company becomes strategic, calculating. When Grace Fryer, one of the dial painters, goes to the company doctor in 1923 complaining of pain in her back and legs, he examines her perfunctorily. "You're fine," he tells her. "It's all in your head. You're probably just anemic. Women often are." He prescribes iron pills, tells her to eat more red meat, to get more rest, and sends her home. When Marguerite Carlo's jaw starts to deteriorate, the company doctor examines her mouth and blames her teeth. "You need better dental hygiene," he says. "You should brush more often. See your dentist regularly." Marguerite protests. "But I brush my teeth twice a day. I've always had good teeth." "Well, clearly not good enough," the doctor replies. When Quinta McDonald's hip fractures, the company doctor tells her she's too thin. "You need to gain weight. Eat more. Your bones are weak because you're undernourished." Quinta is not undernourished. She eats well. Her family isn't wealthy, but they have enough food. But the doctor insists. And Quinta, like the other girls, believes him. He's a doctor. He must know. Every diagnosis is anything but radium. The company has a strategy. Deny, deflect, blame the victim. If the girls are sick, it's their own fault. Their hygiene, their diet, their morals, their weakness. Never the radium, never the company. But word is getting out. Slowly, carefully. The New Jersey Department of Labor starts hearing rumors. Girls dying. Strange illnesses. All from the same factory. In 1924, they send an investigator. His name is Andrew McBride. He's a factory inspector, responsible for worker safety. McBride visits the United States Radium Corporation. He examines the factory, tours the dial painting studio, interviews the girls. He watches them work. Lip, dip, paint. Lip, dip, paint. He sees the radium dust in the air, settling on everything. On the girls' clothes, their skin, their hair. He takes samples of the paint, has it analyzed. His report is damning. The radium levels in the studio are dangerously high. The air is thick with radioactive dust. The lip dip paint technique is delivering poison directly into the workers' mouths, into their bodies. McBride calculates that each dial painter is ingesting approximately 1 to 3 microcuries of radium per year. That might not sound like much, but it's a massive dose. Radium lodges in the bones. It stays there, forever, emitting radiation constantly. He writes, "The conditions in this factory are extremely hazardous. The workers are being exposed to dangerous levels of radioactive material. I strongly recommend that the lip-pointing technique be discontinued immediately and that proper safety measures be implemented." He recommends the factory be shut down until safety improvements are made. The company ignores him. They write a letter to the Department of Labor. Very polite, very professional. "Thank you for your concern. We have investigated the matter thoroughly. Our own scientists have found no evidence of any danger. Radium is perfectly safe when used as directed. Our workers are healthy and happy. There is no cause for alarm. They hire their own independent scientists, who produce their own reports. These reports say radium is perfectly safe. No danger. No risk. Of course, these independent scientists are paid by the United States Radium Corporation. Their findings are predetermined. The company threatens legal action against anyone who suggests radium is dangerous. Against newspapers that print such suggestions. Against doctors who diagnose radium poisoning. They hire lawyers. Expensive lawyers. The best lawyers money can buy. And they use a weapon that's even more powerful than lawyers. Time. When families of dead dial painters try to investigate, the company delays, requests extensions, files motions, drags everything out, because time is on their side. The statute of limitations for occupational injury in New Jersey is 2 years. If they can delay long enough, the right to sue expires. And if the girls die before they can testify, even better, dead plaintiffs can't sue. And they keep hiring new dial painters, because the old ones keep dying. Young girls, 14, 15, 16 years old, fresh out of school, eager for work, for money, for opportunity. The company doesn't tell them about the girls who died, doesn't mention the illnesses, the lawsuits, the investigations, just hands them a brush and a pot of paint. Lip, dip, paint. It's easy, and it's perfectly safe. Her name is Grace Fryer. She's 24 years old in 1925. Slim, pretty, dark hair worn in the fashion of the day. Intelligent eyes. She worked as a dial painter from 1917 to 1920. For 3 years, she lipped her brush. Every day, thousands of times. She left the factory in 1920. She was one of the lucky ones. She got out before it was too late, or so she thought. Now, in 1925, 5 years after leaving the factory, Grace is in constant pain. Started slowly, a dull ache in her lower back. She thought maybe she'd pulled a muscle, or slept wrong. But it got worse. The pain spread to her legs, her hips, her spine. Then her teeth started falling out, just like Mollie Maggia, just like the other girls. Then her jaw began to ache, a deep, grinding pain. Grace knows what this means. She's read about the other girls, about Mollie and Hazel and Irene. She knows they died horrible deaths. She knows she's dying too. She goes to doctor after doctor. They examine her. They're puzzled, concerned. One doctor, Dr. Barry, takes an X-ray of Grace's spine. He develops the film, holds it up to the light, and what he sees shocks him. Grace's bones are deteriorating, riddled with holes, crumbling. Her spine looks like Swiss cheese, like it's being eaten away from the inside. "Miss Fryer," he says quietly, "your bones are disintegrating. I've never seen anything like this in someone so young." Grace asks the question she already knows the answer to. Is it the radium from the factory? Dr. Barry hesitates, then nods slowly. "I believe so. Yes." For Grace, this is validation. Finally, someone believes her. Someone sees what the company has done. But Dr. Barry warns her. Proving it will be difficult. The company has resources, lawyers. They'll fight you. Grace doesn't care. She's going to fight back. Grace starts looking for a lawyer. She needs someone to take on the United States Radium Corporation. She calls law firms. explains her case. The radium, the illness, the other girls who died. Every single lawyer turns her down. Too risky. Not enough evidence. The company is too powerful. You can't win against them. One lawyer tells her bluntly, "Miss Fryer, you're a young woman without resources going up against a major corporation with unlimited funds. They'll bury you in paperwork. Even if you're right, you'll never see justice." But Grace and the other women don't back down. Even as they grow sicker, even as the pain intensifies, even as their bodies fail them. They give depositions, despite the agony, despite barely being able to speak. Katherine Schaub's jaw is collapsing. She can barely open her mouth, but she testifies. Quinta McDonald's hip is broken. She's carried into court on a stretcher, but she testifies. Albina Larice is so weak she can barely sit up, but she testifies. Edna Hussman's teeth are falling out. Blood seeps from her gums as she speaks, but she testifies. And Grace, who started this fight, sits in the courtroom day after day, her spine fracturing, her bones crumbling, in constant, unbearable pain. But she testifies. The trial becomes national news. Reporters fill the courtroom. Photographers capture the women's suffering. America watches as 5 young women, clearly dying, fight one of the most powerful corporations in the country. Public opinion begins to shift. People see the photographs, read the testimonies, hear about the suffering. These aren't greedy opportunists. These are dying women seeking justice. And then something extraordinary happens. A scientist named Harrison Martland, from New York, offers to help. He's been studying radium poisoning. He's developed a test, a way to detect radium in the human body. He examines the women, takes samples of their breath, their blood, their bones, and the results are conclusive. Their bodies are radioactive. Martland can measure it, document it, prove it scientifically. Grace Fryer's body contains enough radium to make a Geiger counter click frantically. Her bones, her blood, her breath, all of it is radioactive. The same is true for all 5 women. Martland testifies in court. His findings are unambiguous. These women were poisoned by radium. There is no doubt. The company's product caused their illnesses. The company's defense begins to crumble. They can't deny the science. They can't refute Martland's evidence. But they keep fighting, keep delaying. Months pass. The women grow weaker. Quinta McDonald dies before the trial concludes. She's 25 years old. The remaining 4 women are determined to see this through. For Quinta, for Mollie, for all the others who died. Finally, in June 1928, the company offers a settlement. Not an admission of guilt. They refuse to admit wrongdoing. But they offer money, medical expenses, a small pension for each woman. It's not enough. Not nearly enough. But the women are dying. They don't have time to keep fighting. Raymond Barry advises them to accept. And they do. Each woman receives $10,000, a pension of $600 a year, and coverage of their medical expenses. In 1928 dollars, it's a modest amount, nowhere near what they deserve. But it's not about the money. It never was. What they won was something more important. They won acknowledgement. The company was forced to admit publicly that radium caused harm. They won protection for other workers. The case led to new safety regulations. Companies could no longer ignore worker safety. They established the right of workers to sue their employers for occupational diseases. Before this case, that right barely existed. They changed labor law in America forever. Grace Fryer died in 1933. She was 35 years old. Katherine Schaub died in 1933. She was 31 years old. Albina Larice died in 1932. She was 32 years old. Edna Hussman died in 1931. She was 35 years old. All of them suffered terribly. All of them died young. But they didn't die in vain. Their lawsuit changed everything. After their case, Companies were required to protect workers from hazardous materials. The field of occupational health was born. Worker safety regulations were established. The right to sue for workplace injury was enshrined in law. And the radium industry changed. Completely. The lip-dip paint technique was banned. Immediately. Everywhere. New safety protocols were implemented. Protective equipment. Ventilation. Lead shields. No more putting brushes in mouths. No more radium dust in the air. The changes came too late for the Radium Girls. But they saved countless other workers. During World War II, when America needed radium for the Manhattan Project, for developing nuclear weapons, the scientists remembered the Radium Girls. They implemented strict safety protocols, protective gear, monitoring, regular health checks. The workers who built the atomic bomb were protected. Because of the Radium Girls. Their suffering taught a generation of scientists about the dangers of radiation. Their lawsuit established principles that protect workers to this day. In 1997, 75 years after Mollie Maggia died, a reporter named Ross Mullner decided to investigate. He wanted to know if the Radium Girls' bodies were still radioactive. He obtained permission to exhume several graves, including Mollie Maggia's. When they opened the caskets, they brought Geiger counters. The bones were still glowing, still radioactive. After 75 years, the radium in their bones has a half-life of 1,600 years. It will continue to glow for millennia. Long after we're all gone, their bones will still be telling their story. Today, there are memorials to the Radium Girls. In New Jersey, in Illinois, where another group of dial painters fought the same battle. Their names are remembered, their sacrifice honored. Grace Fryer, Katherine Schaub,
Quinta McDonald,
Albina Larice, Edna Hussman, Mollie Maggia, her sisters Albina, Quinta, Irma, and Josephine, Hazel Cuser, Irene Rudolph, Marguerite Carlo, Eleanor Eckert, Sarah Mailfer, Helen Quinlan, and so many others. Young women who went to work, who trusted their employers, who did what they were told, who were betrayed, poisoned, left to die, but who fought back, who stood up, who demanded justice. Their story is about more than radium. It's about power, about who gets protected and who gets sacrificed. It's about corporate greed, about companies that value profit over human life, about the importance of worker safety, of regulations, of accountability. It's about courage, about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, about women who were dismissed, ignored, gaslit, and attacked, but who refused to be silenced. When you look at your watch today with its glowing numbers, think of them. The paint is different now. Safe.
non radioactive.
But once it was made by young women who were told it was harmless, who put brushes in their mouths, thousands of times, every day, who trusted, who suffered, who died, and who, in their dying, changed the world. This has been the story of the Radium Girls. Thank you for listening to Echoes of History. Remember their names. Remember their sacrifice. And remember that the rights we have, the protections we take for granted, were won by people who fought for them, often at great personal cost. In the dark, they glowed, and in death, they shine even brighter.